This comic is elite. Look at this panel, man. Yo, this comic, bro, legitimately one of the greatest ever. And I did want to react to Kraven's Last Hunt, or just watch a video on it. I've read the comic before. Yo, this comic is crazy. One of the greatest comics I think Marvel has ever made. I ain't gonna lie, bro. High key. Shout out Kraven. Bro, when I watched Spider-Man 2 or played Spider-Man 2, I was so upset that they didn't adapt this the way that it should have. This is one of the greatest Spider-Man stories like ever, bro. Like ever, bro. Like real life, like ever, bro. So we gonna get into this one right now. Yo, one of the best out. Let's go.
And we are back with Kraven's Last Hunt, right? We technically started it and didn't finish it. In the last video that we did, Kraven the Hunter basically killed Spider-Man, right? He considered Peter Parker to kind of be like the ultimate test, right? The ultimate hunt, hence the name Kraven's Last Hunt. What he does in this video is he becomes...
Yeah, iconic. Yo, that funeral panel right there
hence the name
is
Kraven's
iconic. Kraven's son might still show. There may be a chance. Kraven's son in Spider-Man 2. I actually don't remember that. If that was a plot point or something, I dead don't remember that, bro. It's been so long. You think Kraven is still mad overrated? How so? I don't know if people like legitimately overrate him, because like this is kind of his only like, I don't know many Kraven stories, but I know this is like his like main one. I think this one is really good. I think this one is really, really, really good. You know, I think this one is gas. So I don't know for real. You're gonna have to go more in depth, because Kraven is not that well known. So I don't know if you could really say overrated for real. Like maybe in the Spider-Man circle, but like I don't know if I'd say Kraven's overrated. That's kind of crazy.
What he does in this video is he becomes Spider-Man. Now there's a really, really cool narrative that kind of runs through this whole thing here, right? Which is to say, once he dons Peter Parker's Spider-Man suit, it's not really about him replacing Spider-Man. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't, right? He says, like, the spider lies in a grave 100 miles from here, down in the darkness, blasted into oblivion by my hand. Because he literally shot him in the face with a shotgun, or at least...
Yeah, crazy, bro. Dude, I don't think he's going to talk... Hopefully he does. I don't know if he's going to talk about in this video the hunt down that he did. Because, like, this whole comic's legendary. Like, even outside of when he actually put Spider-Man down in for the count, the fight they have is great. Like, dude, I'm telling you, if this was adapted properly, bro, I think niggas would glaze Kraven to high heaven, bro. Let this get a really good MCU movie or something. Let's get a good MCU movie or something.
That black, hideous, beautiful beast by my hand. But it's not enough to simply destroy him. I must become him. I must prove myself superior to him and laugh in the face of his hovering ghost. So one of the things to know about the relationship between Kraven and Spider-Man is that it's not your typical like Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus type relationship or something along those lines. In a lot of ways, the stories of Kraven the Hunter in Marvel Comics very much mirror The Most Dangerous Game, if you guys ever read that book. It's basically the classic story where a guy invites people to his island or kidnaps them and takes them to his island, and then he hunts them, right? Because he considers man to be the most dangerous form of game that he can possibly hunt. Kraven is very much like that in relation to Spider-Man. And while I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say that he saw Spider-Man as a kind of god, what he did do is see Spider-Man as this almost undefeatable being, right? This person that if he were to overcome him and then basically become the Spider, it would be like the greatest achievement in his life, because as a hunter, it's what he lives for.
Art is incredible. Art of this is incredible, by the way, bro. But I feel like that concept of him just trying to hunt down Spider-Man and then become him to truly show that he's a warrior. I feel like that's like a story that needs to be built on, bro. I hate how Spider-Man 2 sold him. I wish he had a task, like his like battles actually came in, like, you know, the Taskmaster came in the first Spider-Man. Like, I wish he was handled much better. I'm not gonna lie, cause like, dude, Kraven, you could do so much with him. I feel like he's such an interesting character that just has not had that that real mainstream push that I feel like he should have.
What he does is he tells himself, once he enters into this place, he says, no, I am Kraven the man. I am Kraven the hunter. And my metamorphosis is not yet complete. My metamorphosis, I must merge with the spider with its blasphemous sacred essence. Now, the cool thing about this is that while I doubt it was the intention of Marvel and JMD Mateus at the time the story was written, this very much feeds into the work of J. Michael Straczynski when it came to like the other in the Spider-Man comics, which is to say the whole idea of Spider.
It was a misinput, calm down! You calm the fuck down!
Of spider totems and so on and so forth, the nature of Spider-Man and like the inheritors and so on and so forth. This idea that Peter Parker as Spider-Man is representative of basically animal totems, right? He represents the spider in the entire spider landscape, different powers and abilities that effectively come with.
Great. Niggas in a spider pit just to get like Spider-Man. Niggas drinking to get like Spider-Man, bro. This nigga's I'm telling you, bro. Let a good show get on him drinking spider nut. Yo, let a good show handle him. Oh my goodness, bro. This man is insane. He's legitimately insane.
As Spider-Man is representative of basically animal totems, right? He represents the spider in the entire spider landscape, different powers and abilities that effectively come with it. But for Kraven, his metamorphosis, right? His transformation into the spider is basically confronting his fear of the spider. So one of the things you guys will probably notice, because this story came out way back in the day, it shares a lot of similarities with Batman and Bane. Right? Like, Bane literally left Santa Prisca and then tracked down Batman in Gotham City because he was having quote-unquote nightmares about a bat. And defeating Batman would conquer those nightmares and kind of elevate him to a greater level as far as he was concerned in his own mind. With Kraven,
I didn't even know that was Bane's OG origin. Wow. I actually did not know that. That's crazy. Okay.
Same way, right? He says, like, don't question, drink herbs and roots and juices, poisons, fruits, and flowers. Let them pervade your mind, widen it, shatter your cravenness, and let in spiderness. Let it in, let in pain. So it's one of these things where for him, not only is it about just like taking over the role of Spider-Man, or at least kind of replacing Spider-Man to a degree, although not necessarily, it's becoming the spider, this almost mythical entity that exists out there, elevating himself to an almost godlike status and all the powers and all that kind of stuff that comes with it. The crazy thing here is that once he does this, of course, he experiences pain, but then in turn, he starts to have what you could argue to be this massive hallucination. Now, given the fact that it is Marvel Comics, and Marvel Comics is really nothing more than just kind of flights of fancy in both written and drawn form, you could say that like this giant spider is actually happening. But at the same time, it really seems more just due to him hallucinating, right? The kind of hallucinogens and so on and so forth.
I couldn't imagine if any of y'all niggas had arachnophobia, bro. I saw someone say in the chat, I'd have to look up and see, bro. Dude, I couldn't imagine having arachnophobia, bro. Even just being a Spider-Man fan, having arachnophobia, bro.
He's
like,
physically fighting it.
How do you even live?
Engaging it.
How do you even be one, bro?
Representative.
It was
of
me.
The thing that
I'll make
right?
sure this goes by.
Great, powerful, beastly spider that exists out there. This force that's always defeated him at every single turn. If he can conquer this, he can become the greatest hunter who's ever lived, the greatest thing in his own mind. And so that's why Kraven's Last Hunt is as much a psychological story as it is a Spider-Man story. It's arguably the greatest Spider-Man story ever written, depending on how you look at it, but nonetheless, it still kind of falls in that.
I'd say it's like top 3. I don't know what I'd put above it. I don't know what I put above. Shout out my nigga Synth in the chat. Le Tonton indeed, bro. I don't know what Spider-Man stories I put in front of this, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably one of my favorites, bro. Like, this is pretty high up there, bro. Like, as a singular Spider-Man standoff story, what am I putting over this, bro? I don't even know. I really only know Spider-Man runs for real. Like, this one's high up there. Spider-Man No More. You could say that. I wasn't thinking more so. I was thinking more so like the side stories more so than like a singular issue. If I'm not wrong, this is a side story. If we're talking issues, there's quite a bit. If we're talking just like regular issues like this right here, like that's. I was thinking more so like an actual side story. 'Cause this is like 4 issues. Like Kraven's Last Hunt is like 4, if I'm not wrong, separate issues. That's what I was mainly thinking of. Unless I'm just completely misinterpreting how that was supposed to be
to Mary Jane Watson
out.
in the sense that like some guys are basically hassling her and really harassing her and that kind of thing. She tells them off and really kind of walks away, and then it jumps back to Kraven. That's an important thing because we're going to circle back around to that here in a second. But even Kraven himself in the midst of all of this says like, this is insane. I stand before a shadow that doesn't exist, a shadow created by my own drugged mind. There's nothing to fear. I am Kravinoff, the hunter man. There is no spider, no supernatural creature that inhabits men's souls. There is only Spider-Man, a costumed adventurer who, through sheer luck, has managed to beat me time and again down through the years. But it's also one of these things where he's kind of like, none of this is real. He literally kind of muses and says, but now I have finally beaten him and I want to magnify that defeat. Only by taking his place, by proving myself superior to him, by proving myself a better Spider-Man, can my victory have any
the coldest nigga out, bro.
Who killed Hannibal?
Guys who have been reading
the coldest nigga out, man. It's actually crazy. The coldest
for a number of years.
Sheer luck is coping. Yeah, sheer luck is legitimately. He's
Specifically during
legitimately
Dan Slott's
coping.
run,
Legitimately
obviously,
coping.
Superior Spider-Man has very big notes when it comes to this. Why? Because the motivation of Dr. Octopus in basically taking over the body of Peter Parker in that story and becoming Spider-Man was rooted in this very thing. I will become the new Spider-Man. I will become a better Spider-Man. So that's one of the reasons why Kraven's Last Hunt is such a landmark story in Marvel Comics when it comes to the Spider-Man mythos, because in a lot of ways, it informed so many other stories that came after it, decades after this came out. Other stories built off the work that it did. And so this is when Kraven really starts to take control of the situation, and he says, yet I insist on creating this thing, this spider. I cannot face the fact that a man was capable of besting me. We'll stand up then and we'll face him. But what if it's true? And so it's one of these things where it kind of feeds on this idea, what if Spider-Man is just like some kind of mythological being, right? Like what if Peter is representative of some kind of mythological power that exists out there? Hence the nature of—
What's up with your favorite Spider-Man artist? I don't know many Marvel artists like off the top of my head. I'll be honest, bro. I only really know, what's his name? Alex Ross. That's like real life, the only comic artist I know off Dome. And there's one other too. Let me let this play. I'll pull it up.
JMD Mateus is like the other, so on and so forth, right? Peter Parker embodying this mythological spider type being and turning into quite literally a giant spider himself. What if that's true? What if this is really the case? What if Spider-Man is not just a kid out there who got his powers by whatever manner and whatever means, because Kraven doesn't fully know the origin of Spider-Man. Nobody really does, at least outside of Peter and the people
who
that
drew
chose
this
to divulge that to.
Whoever drew like this one, I know he's a popular artist. Whoever drew this, he has some great stuff. But I don't know his name off the top of my head. But he's up there too. He's 100% up there.
But what if it's not just that, right? What if he really is this just mythological character? And so that's what's so cool about this, is it gives you insight into the mind of how Kraven sees Spider-Man. He wants to believe that Spider-Man is just a kid who is a superhero and has defeated him several times. But on the other hand, there's the possibility that maybe there's something else. And a lot of that is because when it comes to Kraven the Hunter, the notion of like gods and mysticism and beings of crazy powers and all that kind of stuff, that's not like a major part of his character, right? He's by no means tied into like the Midnight Suns and Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider or anything like that. But there is this almost kind of supernatural viewpoint of the various things that he hunts. So it is really interesting to see him see Peter Parker in that way. Now, ultimately, he's kind of like just completely engulfed by like these spiders that are just kind of overtaking him and so on and so forth. But he does end up escaping from all of them, right? Like overcoming his fear. And that's when you switch back to Mary Jane Watson, because these two guys that she basically told off, they start following her. And as they continue to follow her, eventually Spider-Man shows up.
You know, niggas always gotta be weirdos, bro. Niggas always gotta be weirdos. It's crazy.
Now, she's excited to see him because she doesn't know that Spider-Man has been shot by Kraven the Hunter and he's buried underground 100 miles away. She just sees that Spider-Man is there. But her immediate indication that it's not Peter Parker comes in the form of the fact that when Kraven fights these guys, he is brutal towards them. I mean, he beats them within an inch of their life and almost kills one of them, right? Way more damage than Spider-Man would ever do. Because Peter Parker would like try to scare them off, or maybe he would web them up and stick them to a wall, but he certainly wouldn't practically beat them to death, right? Or nearly beat them to death. That just wouldn't happen. And that level of ferocity and that level of anger and rage, right? Just that kind of deadly nature coming from this situation immediately tells MJ, this is not Peter. And she's actually going to become kind of a major player in the future of Kraven's Last Hunt in terms of tracking down and figuring out what's going on with Peter Parker. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. If you want to get caught up on Kraven's Last Hunt, make sure you click.
Yeah, this is not the full story though. This is like the third issue in, but he gets hunted right here. Yeah, this is where Kraven actually gets hunted, right? Actually hunts him down. I mean, pops him, buries him alive. He's not dead. He is not dead. And then you do stuff like this. This is like the hardest cover ever. Like, this is, dude, one of the hardest. One of my favorites is when he climbs out the grave. Yeah, this iconic page. And there's a lot of this is like a bunch of character stuff with Kraven. That's like the main thing that he was talking about in the video. A lot of character stuff with Kraven. I love the character stuff that they got going on, especially when he pretends to be Spider-Man. He fights I think like 2 villains, like plus these like goons. He fights another villain, but like, yo, the art, crazy. And then this is not even counting when Spider-Man comes back. Like, dude, this comic is elite. Look at this panel, man. Yo, this comic, bro, legitimately one of the greatest ever. I reread this before Spider-Man 2 came out. Man, I was yeah, stuff like, dude, this Peter stuff right here, bruh. This, I don't know how it's been this long. This has not been adapted the way that it has. Look at, like, I love how they use Kraven defeating the spider and then Peter saying, I am the spider. Like, what would the word be? The parallel of the two in the same comic is right here, bro. Oh my word. And he says, Mary Jane, I love you. And this is where he comes out the grave. Hardest panel ever, bruh. Ahead of its time, truly, bro. Truly ahead of its time, man. Yo, one of the coldest. I could glaze Kraven. I could glaze this comic for a very long time. Dude, this is one. You want to see glaze out of me. Let me read this. I don't know what Spider-Man thing needs to come out to get this adapted. I thought Spider-Man 2 would be the one. Spider-Man 2 was not the one. I hope, I don't know. I can't imagine Tom Holland having this arc. I think Tom Holland could. It's hard to imagine Tom Holland doing it. Like, I can't imagine Tom Holland having the symbiote. But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Tom Holland. I think his second trilogy is going to make a lot of people happy. Like, I think his set, especially with how, dude, with how much emotion this trailer had. Like, Spider-Man is still the biggest superhero like ever. Like, the motion this had, even in like the superheroes being dead era. Like, I low-key have faith. I think this movie will be pretty good. I know so many people care about the street level stuff more than anything. I just care that the movie's good. I just care that we get a good, solid Spider-Man movie. We need one. We need one out there, bro. I don't know. I don't think they'd adapt Kraven, though. I thought Kraven was gonna be adapted for No Way Home, but that ended up being the 2 Spider-Mans and like the multiverse stuff. I thought that was gonna be like a small scale Kraven movie. Like, you know, Peter gets revealed and like every villain goes after him. And I thought Kraven would be one of them. But that's not what happened. Like, I remember if you were there when this movie's ending came out. What's the second movie called? Far From Home? Yeah. If you were there when this movie came out and that ending happened, everyone was suspecting Kraven to be the next villain. Everyone thought because Spider-Man was revealed, everyone would start going after him and it would have been Kraven. Like, I don't think niggas remember how much of a general consensus it was that it was supposed to be Kraven to be the next villain. But I thought it was gonna be Kraven when I saw this back in like 2019, but turned out to not be. But it was better off in the long run. I think the movie that we got with like Green Goblin being the main villain, like the 2 Spider-Mans coming back, was 30 times better than anything they would have cooked up with Kraven. But hopefully we see Kraven at some point, because I need to see that comic adapted in a good fashion, because it's too good of a comic to sit in that medium and not have a good show version, not have a good movie version, or even a game version. Like, if there was a show that would have done it, I feel like Spectacular Spider-Man would have done it. I feel like Spectacular Spider-Man would have done that story justice, but, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man died the way that it died. Don't think it's ever coming back. It's too late. It's like 20 years, bro. Like, let it go at that point, but it is what it is. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.